Patrick Mahomes trolled the QB by joking to go up against one of the greatest, if not the greatest quarterback of all time in his 150th Super Bowl is going to be a great experience. Frank Clark was a bit more blunt, telling reporters, "I have nothing to say to him. I'll see his ass on Sunday in the Super Bowl." All this comes after a comment this past summer when Tyreek Hill said Kansas City was going to chase Michael Jordan's championship total, a comment Brady replied to on Twitter saying, "Totally agree. Why not go 7 rings?" So, Shannon, should Brady see any of this as disrespect?
Skip, look, I've gotten out of the business of what athlete or what someone should view as disrespectful. What I might view as disrespectful or a shot someone taking a shot at, another person might not do it. Skip, and this is what I'm talking about. When you think of 6 rings, you know who you think about. Who you think about when you hear 6 rings, Skip? You think Jordan. Tom Brady has 6 rings, but for whatever reason, they haven't resonated like Michael Jordan's 6 rings. Maybe it's because he's 6-3, I don't know. But when you think 6 rings, Skip, you think Jordan. And so maybe Tom did take it as a swipe, as someone taking a dig at him.
Yep.
But so, and maybe he's motivated that. Like you said, you see LeBron, the little thing. The guy was like, maybe that he's saying that was good deep, Torian. But LeBron took it like, oh, you all happy that I missed a shot. Okay, let me sit you down. So maybe that's going to motivate Tom. But I think the thing is, we got to stop this notion. If somebody does not throw a bouquet of roses or heap an olive branch on Tom Brady's head, if they're taking shots at him or they're being disrespectful. People are entitled. I mean, Tyreek's like, hey, we tracing Jordan. Because when you hear 6 rings, for whatever reason, it's never associated with Tom. Maybe because Jordan got I mean, Skip, if you think about it, there are a lot of people that got the 6 rings before Jordan, but there's just something about Jordan rings. Remember I said, like, baseball records are hallowed. The home run and strikeouts and things like that. It doesn't resonate the same as in football. So, but for whatever reason, Tom Brady has not gotten, I will say this, he has 6 just like Jordan, but for whatever reason, some people view Jordan's accomplishments greater than Tom Brady's. And you can judge it however you want to. I just think it's very, very hard when one game can end your season. You got to beat Jordan 4 times. So I think it's more difficult to do what Tom has done. But for whatever reason, Skip, Tom hasn't gotten the credit for the 6 rings that he's won. But I don't believe Frank Clark, what was Frank supposed to, like Frank said, I ain't got nothing to say. Chase Young was talking about, I want Brady, I want Brady. Frank Clark said, tell him I'll see him on Sunday. Super Bowl Sunday, I'll see him.
No, he didn't say it that way.
You know.
No, what did he say?
I see his you-know-what on
Yeah, I'll see his you-know-what on Sunday.
I see you-know-what on Sunday. But, Skip, you know how Frank is. Remember last year in the AFC title game when Derrick Henry, they said about Derrick Henry, I'm surprised he didn't got more yards than that, as big as he is. Hell, he should have 2,000 yards when he got 2,000 this year. But anyway, so Tom Brady might view it as a swipe. I do not, and we got to just be careful that every time somebody doesn't say something glowing about a person, they're taking a shot at them.
All right. I interpret all 3 of these instances as shots at Brady because I believe he will interpret them as shots.
Okay.
Maybe he's Jordan-esque in that he oversees shots at him as personal.
He views all things that's not positive as a negative.
Right. Because Jordan actually fabricated.
Yes.
He would fabricate a slight. I always tell the Calipari story when he was just angry, pointing at Calipari in a game at New Jersey against the Nets, a playoff game. And Jordan was GOAT that night. And I asked him after the game, what do you have against Calipari? He said, I don't even know him. He said, I just don't like the way he walks up and down in front of the bench, how he prances up and down. Okay, well, that's just perceiving something in somebody just to motivate yourself until you get mad about that. So LeBron needs it to actually happen to get mad, but Jordan would make it up until he finally decided, I got to get even with that guy, even if it's just fabricated.
LeBron believes that everybody is good until you prove otherwise. Jordan believes everybody is bad until you prove otherwise.
So, to me, Tom Brady doesn't look like an assassin. He doesn't look like some badass quarterback who's going to get even with you.
Right.
He looks like the lame, cliched dad down the street or next door.
Yep.
So he comes in a different package. But what I've learned over many years of closely observing Brady is you better be careful with what you say before games because the littlest perceived slight will become massive in his mind by kickoff. And you just better be careful with this guy because he can be a force of nature in games of this magnitude, like a championship game or certainly a Super Bowl, if he decides that you have little to no respect for him.
Well, Skip, considering that Brady's won, what, 33, 34 playoff games, there's a lot of games. Nobody said anything. He went out there and kicked their ass.
Okay, so, I got it. But this is another Super Bowl with a team that most of which has not been there, most of whom has not been there.
Correct.
And he needs some reason to take it up one more level.
Skip, they beat the brakes off you. You know, you got to read the same thing New Orleans.
That's true.
New Orleans didn't need to say anything. He's like, y'all beat me twice. Y'all think I'm done. Okay, I'm going to show you.
Okay, but this is what I'm starting to see in the Kansas City Chiefs. And I respect to the highest degree Andy Reid. I think he's a good man, but he loves to pour it on. He loves his trick plays. He loves his red zone inside the 5. You better look out because and he even tried one, remember, at Tampa Bay, as I call it. He tried some trick pass play from Kelsey to Mahomes, and it didn't work, and it cost them 4 points in that game because they had to kick a field goal. Remember that?
Yes.
Okay, so he loves to, on the biggest stage, say, watch this, and to reprove some of his offensive
And remember,
genius.
they threw a pass to Mahomes down the field in another game, giving out they Sammy Watkins threw it.
That's who they are. I really love Patrick Mahomes, all of his talent. I think he's a good kid, but he's becoming a cocky kid to me. And I don't know why, in several references that I've heard, that he has to say he's one of the best, if not the best. Because, come on, we know who the best is.
Yeah, this is what I know. On my podcast, I've interviewed somebody, Chris Tucker. I did Chris Tucker, J.B. Smooth. I interviewed some of the rappers. But they don't put their contemporaries on Mount Rushmore, a GOAT. He said, I was talking to Tucker, and I was like, well, you know, he's like Richard Pryor and Red Fox and Bernie Mac. And I said, well, what about Chappelle? He's like, he's my contemporary. I can't put him there. Same thing. A lot of guys, Skip, that's a contemporary. And if you notice, Skip, a lot of contemporary, they're like, no. They go back. So I'm playing with a guy. They didn't look. Jordan was great, but nobody at the time, Magic wasn't saying he's the greatest player. He's the best player currently playing, but he's not the greatest player. Nobody said that until afterwards. So you don't heap that kind of praise on a contemporary. You would see that as a weakness. You mean to tell me that you believe somebody is better than you? Nah, Mahomes said, look, he's the greatest, if not one of the greatest. Okay? He's not the greatest right now, Skip.
Tom Brady is old enough to be his father.
Okay? But let me ask you a question, Skip. Do you believe right now Tom Brady is a better quarterback than Patrick Mahomes right now?
In a big game with all the money, push them. I'll take him. I'll take him right now. I'll take him.
Is he a better quarterback throughout the test? So from the 2020 season, was Tom Brady a better quarterback than Patrick Mahomes?
Okay.
Has he played better?
Are we talking about skills competition or are we talking about performance?
I'm saying performance.
Okay. If this is just me, but I look at it differently than you do. I'll take him because his degree of difficulty was so much higher than Patrick Mahomes. Patrick Mahomes has the 2 best receivers in pro football in Tyreek and Kelsey, and he's been with them into his 4th year.
That's not what Pro Football Focus said. At the beginning of the season, Pro Football Focus said Chris Godwin and Mike Evans were the best 2 receivers in football.
Did they make the Pro Bowl?
I'm just saying,
that was off last year's performance.
So
off last year.
Okay.
But off this year, they did not perform at that level because Brady taught them how to win, and you're not going to get the sugar as much as you got it from Jameis. We're going to have to spread the wealth. We're going to have to run it a little more. We're going to have to be a little more careful with the football. So, again, it took Brady saying, eye on the prize, not on the Pro Bowl.
But Skip,
they didn't have any Pro Bowlers on offense. They didn't have one.
If you look at the receivers, Skip, Brady doesn't normally send receivers. Other than Randy Moss and Wes Welker, he hasn't had a receiver. The only tight end is gone has been Gronk. So his offense is really not conducive because
third quarter, he shoots a little turnaround, and it sort of rolls off the front of the rim. And guess who over to his left is sitting in the front row? Because there are a few fans in, but mostly it's personnel.
Yeah.
There's a man named Jason Hillman. Here's the shot. And Jason Hillman is actually the counsel for the Cavaliers. And he goes crazy, and he over-enthusiastically claps for this miss. And LeBron is not happy with this. And he turns around.